Coaches, what's up, guys? Hey, I hope you're having a great week. We're back at it, week 2 for At Our Movie series. Last week was awesome. I had a ton of fun with everyone. It was cool to see all the characters and all of our guests having fun and really enjoying the message that Pastor Trey gave. It was an incredible message. It's a really clever message as well. Something I want to share with you guys before we get into any logistics, something that God has really been placing on my heart this week, and it's the mentality of a shepherd that Jesus talks about in John 10. And at first, I would just want to tell you guys this, that as coaches, you may or may not know this, you may or may not have the pastor of, or the title of pastor, but you guys are the pastor of your team. You're the shepherd of your team. God has entrusted people to be under your leadership, and you are their shepherd. And Jesus talks about this contrast between a good shepherd and a bad shepherd. And he says this in John 10:11 through 13. He says, I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd sacrifices his life for the sheep. A hired hand will run when he sees a wolf coming. He will abandon the sheep because they don't belong to him, and he isn't their shepherd. And so the wolf attacks them and scatters the flock. The hired hand runs away because he's working only for the money and doesn't really care about the sheep. And so God has really just challenged me with that this week, and I want to challenge you guys with the same thing. Jesus gives a contrast, a good shepherd and a bad shepherd. And he says the good shepherd lays his life down for his sheep, and the hired hand runs when he sees trouble coming. So my challenge is, and to you guys, are we having that good shepherd mentality? Are we loving our people? Are we caring for our people? Or when things get tough, will we abandon our people? Or will we kind of leave them out to dry? And so that's something that Jesus as shepherds challenges not only just you guys, but me as well, and anyone who considers herself leaders or that has anyone underneath them. Jesus gives us this challenge. What are we going to be, the good shepherd or the hired hand? So that's something I want to challenge you guys with this week, just something to think about. That's in John 10:11 through 13. If you want to read it yourself this week, it's just something God has really been challenging me with this week. All right, so let's get into the weekend announcements. So like I said, we're at week 2 of At the Movies. Last week was a huge success. Again, we are continuing. I know I said this every week, but it's true. We are continuing to see record numbers every single week, and it's super awesome. So as far as huddles goes this week, coaches, I want you guys to lead the huddles this week. And I said this to my coaches last week, but I'll say it to my coaches that are up this week. Something I want you to share in your huddles is that a lot of people don't really get the heart behind At the Movie series or many of our series that we do. And so we want to keep our teams informed on not just logistical stuff, but why we do what we're doing. And so a big value that we have here at City Hope, at the church, is we'll boldly reach the lost. And so At the Movie series is one way that we do that when we boldly reach the lost, because it's a one way to get people who are normally are not church people out to church. And so it's a huge thing in the community, and we're seeing a lot of people from this area come just to check it out. I mean, who doesn't enjoy a good movie? It's pretty awesome. So coaches, I want you to lead huddles this week. That'll be something for you to pray about and think about and be prepared for this Sunday. So a few announcements I want to talk about. Put this on your calendar. I am super excited about this. I want all of you guys, if you can, to make it. All of your teams to make it. So the 24th, we have worship night here at the campus. That is this month on the 24th. I love worship night. I love being in God's presence. And it's something powerful that happens when we all gather together and we worship in God's presence together. So just put that on your calendars. Make sure your teams know about that. Make sure that you know about that, because I want everyone to be here. It's going to be super, super awesome. So this weekend, also, we will have Next Class. I will be leading Next Class. I have a couple people signed up for that. So just be prepared if anyone asks. It's at 9:30 and it's in room 105. So if anyone asks about Next Class, we are having it this weekend. As I said, each week, just make sure you're over communicating about your teams to check in. This helps us shepherd our teams well and steward our teams well. Also, if they have a reason for decline, please let them know, or if they decline, please let them know to just leave a reason because we want to know. I've reached out to a couple people this week that had to unfortunately decline, and one was having a surgery. And so that was awesome that he actually notified us what was going on. So we were able to reach out to him and just check on him. And so that's an example of a reason why we want our teams just to leave a reason for a decline. Make sure, coaches, something I really want you guys as well to focus on is to check Planning Center. Speaking of looking for declines, just check Planning Center, and if you see anybody on your team that has declined, hit it. If they give a reason, that's awesome. If they don't, just shoot them a quick text and ask, just make sure everything is okay. It's not solely just for accountability. That does help, but it's also the heart behind that is we want to shepherd our people well and just make sure they're doing okay. They don't have any emergencies. So another thing also I will include, like each week, like I've done, is I'll include the link for a sign up to help with the popcorn team. This week, we're pretty good with popcorn team. I have about 5 people that I have recruited and reached out to that are willing to help. So praise God for that. That's awesome. But I'm just going to include the link in there if you guys want to text your teams, see if anyone would like to help with that for the following week, the week they're not scheduled to serve, or they can help if they want on the week they are scheduled to serve. So as far as new team members, there are no new team members this week. We will have some because we have next class coming up. So we will have some new team members in the next couple of weeks. Just keep an ear out for that. Coaches, as always, I will text you and let you know if I add any members to your team. So let's get into some of the team logistics. Parking team, as always, just make sure the 8 o'clock team, we're here by 7:15 to get all of our flags out. And the 11 o'clock team, again, just make sure that we are closing the storage trailer properly and we are putting the key back in our filing cabinet in the team lounge. That's something to make sure. Coaches, help me keep an eye on that and make sure that we have all of our keys and the trailers locked up properly. Greeter team, as we implemented a few weeks ago, same thing. We don't want our team standing outside until the weather starts to cool down because it's still extremely hot. So we can just have our greeters on the outside doors still standing in and just looking for people coming in to open the doors. Usher teams, just continue to make sure. Usher teams, you guys have, our usher teams have been doing great, by the way, but I just want to over communicate, make sure that we are restocking all the envelopes, pens, cards, coffee cups, make sure there's no trash, especially with the popcorn. This past week, we had to do a little extra work to help tidy the worship center up and to keep it clean for the next service. So that's something we definitely want to keep an eye on. Last week, we just had a few people get some brooms and a little vacuum cleaner. It didn't take more than, it added maybe a minute or two to our cleanup in between services. So it wasn't that bad, but it's just something to keep an extra eye on this week. We have placed more chairs in the worship center, but this past weekend, we also had to add every single fold-out chair we had at the 9:30, which is not, we don't want to ever see that as a bad problem. That's a good problem if we have to add chairs. So let's just be prepared for that. Also, ushers, we will need help handing out popcorn during service. So we're going to have a snapshot video. I will be in there to help with that. Don't freak out too much about that, but we have a snapshot video it doesn't have any audio as far as someone saying, like, raise your hand. You'll just have to pay attention to the screen, and it says if anyone needs popcorn, raise their hands. That is our cue to send out our characters and any ushers that we have to help with the popcorn. Common Grounds team, just continue to make sure that we're filling out the inventory list. I am actually currently working on getting a better inventory list and checklist for us. So that's something to look forward to in the future. And then if you're on the 11 o'clock team, let's just make sure that we are placing all the items that need to be dried back on the shelves. Connect team, let's just make sure that we're entering all the Connect cards in the iPads. Also, we have the red box cards that we're giving away for new members. Let's just make sure we limit that to only one family or one guest. If it's a family and they have multiple people in the family, we only have enough to give away for one family. So let's just make sure that one family gets only one. And guys, that is it for the logistics for this weekend. As I said earlier, just keep an eye out on some of the calendar updates and for the worship night. And then, coaches, remember, you're leading huddle this weekend. and we are on week 2 of At the Movies. So I will see you guys this weekend. I love you. As always, my phone's open, my inbox for my email is open. Feel free to call if you need anything or email me. I am always available. All right, love you guys. See you this weekend.